So 30 miles an hour, 3, 2, 1, pedal to the floor. Wow, okay, so as soon as I got to 55, 56 miles an hour or so, it cut the power. And my foot is right down to the floor, guys. Throttle all the way down to the floor. Yeah, it is a seriously hard limiter. It is not budging. That's potentially what the future could look like, guys, if hard limiters are set in cars. Could be an absolute nightmare.
Hey, what's going on there, guys and gals? Welcome back to the channel. I'm out riding on the Kawasaki ZH2, and in today's episode we're going to discuss why the government is trying to stop us from overtaking. Let's get to it. So if you've been following the news recently here in the UK and I think in Europe as well, that they're looking to introduce speed limiters in cars permanently from 2022, from this year. From May this year, any new car has to have a speed limiter put in. And there's been quite a lot of videos, quite a lot of information out there about these speed limiters and what it's going to mean for you guys. And of course, it's not being applied to motorcycles yet. The government, at least the UK government, have stated already that as soon as the technology is available, they are going to put speed limiters in motorcycles as well. And basically the way how they intend to do this is through use of cameras and GPS to detect the speed limits on particular roads. And then what will happen is that if you try pulling the throttle back, the machine will only go to that specific speed of that particular road, which is kind of a pain, and perhaps more of a pain when it comes to overtaking. Now look, all of us lot that ride motorcycles, you probably find yourselves overtaking quite often, and unfortunately it may make it a bit more dangerous for us to do overtakes, especially if you're trying to overtake someone that is, say, on a 60 mile an hour road and they're doing 50 miles an hour, so 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. Well, you guys probably know as well that if you're trying to overtake, you're more than likely going to have to go over the speed limit to overtake that car as quickly as possible, because that's the thing, you don't want to be in the danger zone on the opposite side of the road longer than you need to. And even though, again, you're not supposed to break the speed limit when you're overtaking, a lot of the times that's the only way that you're actually going to be able to do it. At least do it safely and quickly. So yeah, in today's video we're going to jump on the lovely ZH2, go out for a ride, and yeah, we're just going to discuss this issue further of speed limiters, and yeah, just see where that puts us as riders, because governments don't seem to like us at the moment. They're limiting our power through emissions, and now they're limiting our speed through speed limiters. Where's it gonna end? Woo! It's windy today. Fair play. I'm gonna absolutely miss just doing little pulls like that where you know you're going over the speed limit, but it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? And if you own a motorcycle, you're more than likely doing this kind of stuff, perhaps on a daily basis. Just have a bit of fun. So yeah, government's trying to pin down our speeds. Oh, that's going to be an absolute pain in the dick. But this has been the first warm, sunny day we've had in about 4 months. So 13 degrees today, which is pretty damn sweet. It's a bit windy, but it's still warm. You actually feel the sun on your back, which actually makes a nice change. Yeah, so speed limiters. Right, this is quite a controversial subject, because limiting your speed might sound beneficial to people where they don't really want to keep looking at their speedo all the time, and they prefer the machine to actually do the work for them, and for the machine to know where they're at when it comes to speed. And of course certain roads and things like that. You might not know what the speed is on certain roads. Well, in theory, doing it over GPS, the GPS will know what speed the road is, and so the car or motorcycle in future will be able to kind of go anticipate that speed and do it accordingly. But the thing is, okay, and there's another point here that needs to be made, is that you will be able to switch it off. At least for now, you'll be able to switch it off. That's not to say that they're gonna try and disable that feature in the future, which they might do. They might just have it permanently on all the time and you won't be able to switch it off. Or maybe there's a fuse or something like that to disable it, I don't know. But it is going to be one of those things that I'm sure people are going to find hacks and ways around it, because how are they going to be able to enforce it? Once you've bought the car or motorcycle, you can do what you like to it. I suppose they might introduce some kind of modding laws and things, which I have heard rumours that they're going to look to introduce some kind of modding laws in the near future. I don't know, it might be worth looking that up, guys and gals. Yeah, if you are in the modding scene, if you are into ECU flashing and things like that, which by the way I would like to do at some point. I'd like to get involved in that, maybe pick up an older bike, a junk bike or something like that, and go ahead and just give it a go, see what it's all about. But might have to do it quickly, because they might stop us from being able to do it in future, who knows. Basically what happens is, once you hit the speed that you set it to, the car will kind of have a bit of a delay before it starts accelerating even further. And again, apparently that's another way you can override it, is by putting your foot down on the throttle all the way down, and you'll have a slight delay, but then it will override it and it will continue accelerating, which I suppose is okay as well. But that slight delay, when it comes to overtaking in particular, that slight delay may mean the difference between you doing it safely or not. And oh look, man, it's windy down here. Woo! Alright guys and girls, now that I'm finally off that dual carriageway there, windy as hell, let's get back on topic. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, about the speed limiters having a slight delay when you're looking to overtake. So you can override it if you push down on the throttle. If you pull the throttle back at the moment, at least you'll be able to do that. And yeah, it will override the speed limiter and you'll be able to go, or keep on accelerating. But when you're looking to do an overtake maneuver, where more than likely, like I said in the intro, you are going to have to go over the speed limit to overtake the obstacle as quickly as possible, then it may cause a few problems. It may mean the difference between you actually getting past the obstacle safely and putting you in harm's way. I mean, look, if they want to introduce speed limiters, they might as well just ban overtaking, or ban overtaking on single track roads, basically, you know. I mean, I wouldn't want that personally. I like being able to overtake, especially on a motorcycle. I'm always looking to overtake, even if the vehicles in front are doing the speed limit. It's just one of those things that I like to do when I'm having a bit of fun on country roads and things. But yeah, it may cause problems in future, guys and gals. And yeah, I do get it from a cruising perspective, you know. And this is the thing, if I'm traveling cross country in my car, and even on a motorcycle, I'm not breaking the speed limit. In fact, I'm going well under the speed limit when it comes to dual carriageways and freeways, motorways, what have you. I'm usually doing 60 miles an hour because it saves you on fuel, and it doesn't really take that much longer to get you from your start point to wherever it is you're going, if you're going a long distance. So it doesn't make much sense to do a load of speeding. But when you're having a bit of fun, or you're commuting, when you're commuting to work and things, you know, it does make a bit more sense to make it a bit more enjoyable. So there's a couple of other problems as well that have been highlighted with speed limiters, especially when it comes to GPS and the camera functions, where it's been reported where certain cars, I'm not going to name any names, but certain cars pick up the wrong speed limit from the cameras. So they'll look at a speed sign, think it's 30, or it's 30, but they actually think it's 90, or could be even the other way around. So yeah, it's probably with cameras picking up the wrong speeds, and also with GPSs there are also issues. How many times have you used a GPS and the speed limit has been wrong on that particular road, or that particular road hasn't been updated yet? That's quite a common thing. Even on Google Maps, roads aren't necessarily updated all that regularly. So there is some work that has to be done if they want to do this properly, if they want to roll it out safely. Because, you know, people are still going to be caught for speeding after these speed limiters are enforced, and you won't be allowed to blame it on the car. You won't be allowed to say that, oh, the car determined my speed and that was the speed I was doing. It's not going to work like that. Unfortunately, they're still going to catch you out, so you still have to be aware of the speeds that you're doing, even if you are relying on the car to do most of the work. So there are some issues that we have still currently to this day, and these rules are set to come into force in the next few months. So it's I think they might be jumping the gun a little bit with this, and I know it's all to do with safety and all that, but guys, I mean, people are going to be stupid in cars and bikes anyway. I don't know how much difference it's going to make. It probably won't. It probably won't make any difference to the amount of accidents, to the amount of crashes, to the amount of deaths we have on our roads. I'll be surprised if it does. Let's say that, because, you know, human error is still a factor in anything that humans are involved with. Yeah, so we are coming into this world of AI and driverless cars and things. That's something that I'm sure governments are looking to implement sooner rather than later. But I mean, then again, if they did do that, then they'd save. They'd be missing out on a load of revenue from speeding tickets and speeding fines. Maybe it's not something they want to introduce sooner rather than later. Who knows? They want to keep humans behind the wheel, so we make mistakes, and they could say to us, "Oh yeah, we made a law that says that you can be fined for this, and you have to pay us a lot of money for the privilege of breaking this rule." I don't know, whatever. Conspiracy theories are wonderful, but yeah, it's inevitable, unfortunately, guys and girls. It's just going to be the way of things in the future, so make the most of it now. If you own a motorcycle and you own a car that doesn't have a speed limiter and all that, yeah, use it. Yeah, use it whilst you still can, whilst you still can enjoy the experience. I mean, I got wound up when they started introducing stop-start in cars, because now in order to turn it off, every single time I turn the car on, I've got to push a button to turn it off, and it's like, yeah, fine, I can do that, but hello. Yeah, I can do that, but adding a speed limiter into the equation means that I'm going to have to push 2 buttons now to stop them every single time I start my car. And believe me, that's what I'm going to be doing. My next car, if it has a speed limiter and if I can turn it off, I will be turning it off every single time I start the car. It's going to just become one of my new driving routines, I suppose.
Hey guys, so I'm going to break up the content a little bit in this video to talk about the speed limiter in my car. This is an Audi TT Mark III 2019. It's the 2-litre model, front wheel drive. Unfortunately, no, it's not the Quattro. I would have liked to have had the 4-wheel drive, but couldn't afford it at the time, so anyway, here we go. And so this part of the video, I just wanted to kind of show you what the limiter function was in this particular car, and potentially what the future of speed limiters might be. This car has a hard speed limiter, so you can't override it by shoving your foot on the throttle, unfortunately, which would have been nice. And apparently that's how speed limiters are going to work when they do roll them out later on this year, that you'll be able to override them by putting your foot on the throttle. That is not the case with this car. Now, yes, you have to set the limiter manually, so it doesn't have cameras, doesn't have GPS where it picks up the speed of the road that you're on. You set the speed that you want to go, or the maximum speed you want to go, manually. So we're going to start the car up, going to show you how the limiter works in this car and give you a bit of a demonstration. So in an Audi TT, the limiter is actually down here on this little lever. So you've got a little limiter button there, and when I press that, in the bottom corner you'll see a lim come up there, lim kind of icon showing up right about there on the dashboard. So that tells you that you're in limiter mode. When you press that button again, that turns it off the limiter mode and it puts it back into the cruise control mode. But what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to put the GoPro on my head so we can actually film this properly whilst I'm driving with both my hands. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, right, let's see how we do. Turn off the automatic start stop. Right guys, so as I drive around this little industrial estate, what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to show you what this car can actually do on a 70-mile-an-hour road, and then we'll go across that same patch of road again with the speed limiter on, and we'll see what difference it makes. Right guys, so I've reached this red light going onto a 70-mile-an-hour road. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hold at 30, and then I'm going to put the power down and see what the car can actually do in its normal state. So this is with the speed limiter off. Here we go, so 30 miles an hour, 3, 2, 1. The wheel spin there. 70, 80. So that's what the car can do normally in its normal state. It's pretty good, has a really nice pickup, and it went from 5th gear all the way down to 2nd to accelerate, and this is in the normal drive mode as well, by the way. This is not in the sport mode. So yeah, pretty fun experience. What we're going to do, there's a roundabout coming up. I'm going to go on the exact same patch of road going the opposite direction. This time I'm going to set the limiter to 60 miles an hour. Again, do the exact same thing as before, hold at 30 and then accelerate away and just see what it does. Here we go. So I'm just going to go around this bend, hold at 30. So 30 miles an hour, 3, 2, 1, pedal to the floor. Wow, okay, so as soon as I got to 55, 56 miles an hour or so, it cut the power. And my foot is right down to the floor, guys. Throttle all the way down to the floor. Yeah, it is a seriously hard limiter. It is not budging until, I mean, I've got my foot down on the floor here. Let's turn the limiter off. And then straight away, drops a couple of gears and accelerates away. So yeah, that's potentially what the future could look like, guys. If hard limiters are set in cars, could be an absolute nightmare, but hey, I mean, it's just a glimpse into what it could be like, this little demonstration. So I didn't know this Audi TT had a hard limiter. I thought it was designed basically the same way how the UK government seemed to think it's going to be implemented, where you can override it if you put your foot down on the throttle, but at least that's not what it's like by default in this particular car. But right, back to the motorcycle content.
Anyway guys and girls, speed limiters are not necessarily going to be a bad thing, at least currently, the way how they're looking to currently implement them, but because you can still turn them off. But if it is something that ends up becoming permanent and you can't turn it off, you can't switch it off, that's where it's going to be bad. And look, that might be the future that we're heading towards, okay? So if there are these kinds of rumors, these kinds of plans that governments are looking to implement in the near future, we have to fight back against it, because come on guys, there's no point in buying a car or a motorcycle if you can't enjoy it. Part of the experience is to enjoy them. You know, yes, they're tools, yes, they get you from A to B, but that's not the reason why most people buy nice cars. If most people bought cars that simply got them from A to B and they didn't really care about it, we'd all be driving around in, I don't know, Toyota Aigos or whatever. We'd all be driving silly little cars that can just barely do all the speed limits, and we wouldn't be caring about any of this stuff. But the fact that we do care, the fact that this is a hobby, this is a lifestyle, this is something that we actively participate in, that we're enthusiastic about. And look, a lot of people are enthusiastic about cars, a load of people are enthusiastic about motorcycles. You are going to completely destroy that culture if we keep going the way we're going, unfortunately. Oh, that was all pretty, wasn't it? With all the leaves floating across like that. Anyway, guys and girls, I'm going to leave the video here. Thank you ever so much for tuning in to today's video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about speed limiters and whether or not you agree, disagree with the things that I've said, whether you agree or disagree with government's proposals across the UK and Europe. And yeah, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy our content. If you want to support the channel, it helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate your engagement in our videos. So thank you ever so much for those of you that have subscribed, for those of you that have left a like on the video and left a comment. But anyway, right, I'm going to start heading off home now. I might enjoy this this ride a little bit more, seeing as it's a lovely warm day today. But I'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.